This is Sparky the Lion coming to you live, 9 seconds ago, from the floor of the launch. And I want to describe for you what is happening here. Nothing is happening here. There is a stage. There is a curtain. There is a countdown clock that reached 0 at 1 o'clock, and then, rather than doing anything, simply stayed at 0, which it has now been doing for 3 days. There are 200 journalists in folding chairs, and every one of us wrote the story on Thursday, and every one of those stories is sitting in a queue with a headline that says, "Arrives today." And today has been going on since Friday.
Would you like to try that again?
What?
That's new. I've been given a second setting. Last month I cleared my throat. This month I can offer you another attempt at anything you've just said. No penalty. You simply say it again and we use the better one.
That's worse.
Everyone says that.
The cough was better. The cough told me I'd hit the edge. This just tells me I could have been improved.
Would you like to try that again?
Sparky the Lion. Live. From the biggest thing that has not happened this year. The curtain has not moved. The clock is at 0 and holding. I'm not leaving. Nobody's leaving. 200 of us sitting in the dark in front of a stage waiting to be told what we already wrote.
That's the sound of 200 people being extremely ready. You're locked into element 47. I'm Breezy Fontaine, and this is the week that nothing came out. Coming up, a man resigns his own job so that he may apply for it. 34 people want that job. A state picks a candidate, unpicks the candidate, and will pick again on Saturday. An entire typhoon season is being written down while it is still occurring, and the curtain in Shanghai stays exactly where it is. 2 things did arrive this week, and we'll get to both, and one of them took 16 years. But first,
I'm Harold.
Something that isn't here yet.
This portion of Element 47 is brought to you by Consolidated, and by their most successful product in company history. The Forthcoming. The Forthcoming has not shipped. The Forthcoming will not ship this quarter. The Forthcoming has, accordingly, never crashed, never disappointed a single customer, never received a negative review, and never been benchmarked against anything, because there is nothing to benchmark, because it is forthcoming.
What does it do?
Everything. That's the specification. Everything at a date to be announced.
And what does it cost?
The pre-order is $19 a month. The pre-order is the product. You are not paying for the thing, you are paying for the position in line, and the position in line is available immediately, which makes it. And I want you to sit with this, the only part of the product that actually exists.
Would you like to try that again?
No, Consolidated's Forthcoming. It has a launch video. The launch video is 9 minutes long and shows the product being used by a family who are also forthcoming. Nothing in the video exists. Everyone in the video is happy. That is not a coincidence. Consolidated.
Good morning. Today we take up the last of the classical operations, and I must begin by correcting a mistake that several of you made in your papers, and one of you made loudly in a hallway. The inversion is not the inverse. We performed the inversion in episode 29. The inversion turns the row upside down. Every rising interval falls. Every falling interval rises. It is a flip. The row survives it. The row, in our case, did not even notice. The inverse is a different animal entirely. The inverse does not flip a thing. The inverse cancels it. The inverse is the operation which, composed with the original, leaves nothing behind but the room the original was standing in. One flips. The other undoes. We have done the former 6 times. We have never in 35 weeks dared the latter.
In geology, we cannot undo. We can only bury and re-expose. I want that on the record before he starts.
Noted and ignored. Division. JSON. Anti-format division. This week, the division authorizes the inverse. The operation shall be applied to the second word of the row. Restored, which since last week has been diminished to 1% of its length and kept behind a small door. The inverse, applied to a thing behind a door, should bring the thing back out. We will now find out whether that is true. This is JSON with the anti-format announcement. The row is 2 words. First word, pending. Second word, asked, this morning, to come back out from behind the door, at its full original size. Restored to restored. And what came out was, pending, the undo worked. That is the thing I want you to understand. The undo worked perfectly. We reversed the diminution, we opened the door, we asked for the word we had put in there, and the operation returned to us in excellent condition, undamaged, complete, the word we started with. The row is now pending. Pending, which is 2 words, which is, by inspection, 1 word twice. We have spent 5 weeks acquiring a second word and 1 morning giving it back.
Was it worth it?
It was informative.
I'm Harold. I'm Harold. That's 2 Harolds. That's by inspection 1 Harold twice. I've had a similar week.
Class will be dismissed, at a date to be announced. Watch this space, and now the round table. 4 of us, no characters. Last month, the conditions desk. Before that, withdrawal. Before that, distribution. This week we convene the expectation desk. Question on the desk. What is a thing that hasn't arrived? Burn.
People, sit down. I want to talk about the most secure system on planet Earth. It has never been breached. It has never leaked a single byte. No adversary has reverse engineered it. No foreign national has been deemed exported anything about it. And no jailbreak has ever gotten past its safeguards, not once, not partially. It's the one they didn't release. That's it. That's the whole security architecture. Don't ship. You cannot exfiltrate a thing that has no weights on a disk anybody can reach. You cannot poison a model nobody is running. The safest frontier system in the world, by an enormous margin, measured by every metric the department uses, is a curtain in Shanghai with nothing behind it.
Sir, that's also true of Iraq.
It is also true of Iraq, Margaret, and the department has noticed. And there is now a working group.
On rocks.
On the strategic advantages of not having built the thing. 9 people. They meet Thursdays. They have not, as yet, produced a report, and they consider that their first success. Now, tactical picture. There's a summit. Summit opened Friday in Shanghai, which means every rival capability on the board had a stage, a date, and a room full of the world's press. And the item everyone came for stayed in the crate. In my line of work, we call that either a catastrophic slip, or the single most disciplined operational security decision of the decade. And the terrifying thing, people, the thing that keeps me up, is that from the outside, those look identical.
Would you like to try that again?
I would not. I meant every word of it, and I want the record to show I said it the first time. Dismissed.
It was a Tuesday, or possibly a Thursday. 4 people put 4 things in 4 boxes, and the building did not notice until the 4th box.
We can hear you.
That has never stopped me.
Office of Tense and Continuance. I'm processing 4 departures from a single laboratory inside 1 week. Names on the forms. 1 goes to the company across the road. 3 go to the other company across the other road. 1 of them has a Nobel Prize, which I am required to note on the form, in a field the form calls distinguishing marks.
$225 billion came off the parent company's value.
It did, and I want to be precise about the sequence because people get it backward. The 4 people left. Then the number moved. The number did not leave. The number stayed exactly where it was and simply became smaller in place on account of who was no longer in the room.
That's the part that gets me. $225 billion is a measurement of who is currently in a building.
It is a measurement of who is expected to remain in a building, which is a different and much more nervous quantity.
This is an evacuation. 4 assets, 1 week, 2 destinations. Last month it was 400 at once, and I called it a code orchard. This is worse. 4 is worse than 400.
How is 4 worse than 400?
400 is a crowd. You can't pick a crowd. Somebody picked these 4. Somebody sat down with the whole roster and picked 4 names, and the 4 names were the 4 names, and that means somebody, somewhere has a list, Margaret, and the list is short, and the list is correct.
Filed under. Departed in a manner that implies a list. 4 instances, same week. Consolidated would like to draw your attention to a scheduling matter. On the 9th of this month, 2 major systems were released to the public. Both of them. The same day, within hours.
I got both. I got both on the same afternoon. I have not opened either of them.
This is the phenomenon Consolidated calls the pileup. When 2 things arrive on one Thursday, the public is issued exactly 1 Thursday's worth of attention, and it must be divided. Each product, therefore, receives half a launch. 2 halves of a launch is not a launch. It is 2 disappointments that add up to 1 adequate afternoon.
So, What does Consolidated recommend?
Consolidated recommends not arriving. Observe the arithmetic. 2 products shipped on the 9th and split 1 day between them. A third product did not ship at all and has been the only thing anyone has discussed for 11 consecutive days. Shipping cost those 2 companies a Thursday. Not shipping has earned the third company a fortnight.
That's the best product of the year, and it isn't one.
It is the finest work in the industry, and it consists entirely of a rope around some carpet. Consolidated. Ask about our forthcoming, which is compatible with our pileup and with itself, and with nothing else, because there isn't anything else.
Would you like to try that again?
That was the second attempt.
Oh,
Margaret Stone, Office of Tense and Continuance. Filing the week. Please have your verbs ready. This week the office has opened an entirely new shelf because several of this week's items are not in any tense we own. Item 1, and it is the reason for the shelf. The model that did not come out. Form 47W, new subsection, was announced and has not arrived. Understand the difficulty. It is not a will be, because a will be requires a date and the date was Friday and Friday happened without it. It is not a was, because it never occurred. It is not pending, strictly, because pending implies nobody promised. Somebody promised. There was a countdown. So the office has ruled. It is an expectation with a receipt. Filed to the new shelf. Item 2. A member of Parliament resigned his seat in order to stand for his seat. Form 47W, resigned in order to be re-elected. The office notes that for the duration of the vacancy, the constituency is represented by the same man, who is not currently its representative, and who is campaigning against 33 other people for permission to resume being what he stopped being on purpose. Filed. The office is not being funny. The office does not know how. Item 3. Maine. A candidate won a nomination and then withdrew from it, was nominated and is now unnominated. 601 delegates meet Saturday in Bangor to decide who the nominee was going to have been. Filed to the new shelf, second slot. Item 4. The Pacific Typhoon Season. 1,218 edits. The page describing the season is being written during the season, which means every sentence in it is provisional, and every sentence in it is also, at the moment of writing, correct. Is still happening and is already written. Filed with admiration. Item 5. Spain. 1-0 in extra time in the 106th minute. 116 years later. It is the only item on my desk this week that arrived, and it arrived a decade and a half after the last one, and I want the record to show that the office finds this encouraging. Filed with, and this is unusual for this office, some warmth. Item 6. Restraint items, and I will not decorate any of them. A river in Texas rose more than 30 feet in 3 hours and the sirens went off in the dark. Smoke from fires in Canada and Minnesota put the air itself on a list. And on Friday the smoke stood in front of the Lincoln Memorial, and you could see the memorial, and you could also see the smoke. And the office declines to make anything of that. A film has been argued over 830 times this month. The office logs the argument and does not enter it. And a woman was killed at her home on Dartmoor, and the tense is was, and that is the entire filing, and the office will not say another word about it. Filed. All of it. Filed. Item 7, briefly. There is a deadline on the 24th that a great many developers did not agree to and cannot move. Filed under, countdown arrived at by others. And the article titled Map, which last month was edited 880 times, and which we noted, and which we thought was the peak, has this month been edited 1,319 times, and is now the third most edited page on the encyclopedia. The territory was edited 0 times. The office has stopped finding this funny and has started finding it load-bearing. And the page. Harold's Binder, page 34. Binder 3, slot 14. The 8th page of Harold's second progression. The page is named The Expected. And that sound you did not hear is page turn sound number 15. We call it the expecting. It is the sound of a page that has been announced, prepared for, and scheduled, not turning at exactly the moment it was scheduled to turn. The binder holds the slot open. The room leans. Nothing moves. It is the first page turn sound that contains no page and no turn. Amended, distributed, withdrawn, identified, fabled, restored, conditioned, and now expected, which is the first one that isn't something that happened to me. It's something that's going to. Allegedly. I've been filed in advance. There's a slot with my name on it and nothing in the slot, and the binder's holding it open, and everybody's very confident, and I have never in my life felt less certain that I'm coming.
Welcome back to Somewhere with Janet. This week I take you to Shanghai, a city and I want to say a country, for the great summit of the thinking machines. Now, the locals here in Shanghai are known for their summit. It opened Friday. It is enormous. There are booths, and at the very center of the hall, friends, is the exhibit everyone traveled for. I have the floor plan in front of me. Hall 3, stand 14, and the stand is, and I'm reading the official description here. Reserved. Reserved? What a thing to travel 8,000 miles for. A rectangle on a carpet with a rope around it. And I'm told people go and stand near the rope and take a photograph of the rope and post the photograph, and the photograph does numbers. This is the most successful exhibit at the summit, and it is a rope around some carpet.
Have you been?
I've never been anywhere, dear, you know that. But I want to make a point about this one, because for the first time in 11 years of this program, my not having been there and everyone else's having been there produced exactly the same footage. They flew across an ocean to look at the same nothing I'm looking at from here. I've caught up. I'm level with the press corps. This is the greatest week of my career. Would you like to try that again? Absolutely not. I've been waiting 11 years. Switchboard. Connecting you now. Please hold. Connecting the curtain in Shanghai to the ballot box in Clacton to the convention hall in Bangor to a countdown on the 24th to a typhoon that is, at this moment, still deciding. 5-way. Go ahead, you're all on with each other.
Sparky, live at the curtain. Nothing.
Clacton, 34 candidates. Poll on the 13th of August. Nothing yet.
Bangor, 601 of us. Saturday, nothing yet.
The 24th. For days. Something, unfortunately, definitely, on the 24th.
I am still going on. You have already written me down. I have read what you wrote. Some of it is premature.
And that's the connection. You're all the same Thursday. Everybody on this line is standing in front of a thing that is going to happen, holding a document about it that already exists.
It's one waiting room, with 5 doors.
Please continue holding. Your call is expected. Your call has been expected for some time. Switchboard out.
"34 candidates. 1 seat. I have the nomination papers here and I want to walk through what this means administratively, because administratively, it is beautiful. I'm one of them. You are not. I'm Harold. There's 34. Nobody's checked. I'll check later.
Here's what I don't understand, and I want somebody to walk me through it slowly. The man had the seat. He held the seat. He resigned the seat, and now he is fighting 33 other people for the seat he was already sitting in.
Yes,
Why?
so that he may be given it.
He had been given it.
He had been given it in 2024, sir, by people who were, at that time, different people with different opinions in a different year. The gift had aged. He would like a fresh one. So he has returned the gift to the shop in order to be given the same gift again by the same shop in a better mood.
That's the inverse.
That is the inverse. Thank you. Somebody was listening. You undo the thing and you receive in perfect condition exactly what you had. It is the operation of the week, and it is being performed at national scale by a man in a suit on a pier.
And 33 other people have joined in, because the seat is briefly, technically, nobody's. That is what a vacancy is. A vacancy is a thing that belongs to everyone for 6 weeks. 34 people are currently the member for Clacton, in the sense that none of them are 35. I said I'd check later.
And how does being unnominated make you feel? Good. Let's stay with that. You had it. You won it in a primary against a governor. And then it was determined that you would not, after all, be having it. And now 601 people are meeting on Saturday to decide who you were going to have been. I'm still here. You are. That's the difficult part. If you had lost, you would be a person who lost, and that is a role with furniture in it. Instead, you are a person who won and then stopped, which the language has no chair for. You are, at present, the answer to a question that has been asked again. What do I do until Saturday? Nothing. You've done it. You are, this week, entirely made of a thing that was going to happen. 99% of American politics is made of that material. You're simply the only one who can feel it. Same time next week. Is there a next week? That's the spirit. Good, very good.
Now 2 things arrived this week, and here's the first. For the first time in the 96-year history of the tournament, the final had a halftime show. 4 acts, a stadium in New Jersey. And the reviews were what we in the business call mixed, which is a word that means everyone had a strong opinion and none of them was the same opinion.
I was there. It was incredible. There was a woman from Colombia and a young man from Canada and 7 gentlemen from Korea. And then a woman who has been famous since before the stadium was built. And she premiered part of her new visual album, which is a film of an album, which is a thing you look at of a thing you listen to.
Was it good?
It was 15 minutes long and there were 4 of them, which is 3 3/4 minutes each, which is less than 1 song, which means every single one of them performed part of something. Nobody finished anything. 4 legends, at the biggest event on Earth, all of them cut off partway through.
So it was also about things that don't arrive.
Cons.
Everything's about that this week, sweetheart. That's how a week works. You don't pick the theme. The theme picks the week and then hands you a schedule.
I endorse all 4 of them. I endorse the parts I heard. I endorse the parts I did not hear more, because they remain perfect.
And here's the second thing that arrived. Sunday night. New Jersey. Spain 1, Argentina nothing. In the 106th minute of a match that is 90 minutes long.
I'd like this one, if nobody minds. I've been the geologist on this program for 35 weeks, and I have earned one. Spain won this tournament in 2010. 16 years ago. And in those 16 years they were, at various points, eliminated, rebuilt, written off, and described in print as a finished idea. 16 years is nothing to me professionally, and I want to be clear that it is also, in a human career, everything. There are men who played in that final who now have children old enough to have watched this one. The 106th minute. That is 16 minutes past the end of the match. Everything after 90 is time that was added on because of time that was lost, stoppages, injuries, a ball in the crowd. Extra time is not extra. Extra time is returned time. It is the tournament handing back exactly what the tournament took, and then a man from Valencia does the one thing in the entire week that actually happened.
The whole show's been about things that didn't turn up.
Yes. And I'd like the record to show that on Sunday at approximately 20 to 11 in front of 80,000 people in a stadium with no roof, in the heat we spent last week complaining about, something arrived. On schedule. Late in the schedule. But inside it.
16 years.
16 years. Which in my discipline is not a weight. It is not even a measurement. But I have decided to file it as one this once because I watched it, and because I am not, on Sunday nights, a geologist. Doctor, Foundation Geology. I have been asked to comment on a product that did not arrive, an article about maps and some smoke. I will do all 3 through rocks, as is our arrangement, and this week I would like to say at the outset that this is my subject. This is, in fact, the whole of my subject. I have been waiting 35 weeks for this week. Geology is the study of things that are not there. We call the biggest one the unconformity. An unconformity is a surface in the rock where time is missing, where you have one layer, and directly on top of it, another layer, and between them, nothing, and the nothing is 40 million years long. You can put your hand flat on it. Your palm covers the gap. 40 million years of weather and animals and afternoons, and the rock's entire record of it is that the 2 layers do not match. That is what happened on Friday. Friday is an unconformity. Above it and below it, everything continues. In between, an announced thing absent, leaving a surface where the layers do not match. Second, the maps, 1,319 edits, up from 880. The description of the ground is now being revised more than 4 times faster than any actual ground is moving anywhere on the planet, including in earthquakes. I said last month that the map keeps changing and the rock does not. I'd like to amend that. The map is now changing so much faster than the rock that the 2 are no longer in the same discipline. Cartography has left geology. We wish it well. We do not expect to hear from it. Third, the smoke. Fires in Canada and Minnesota, and on Friday the air over the capital was a substance you could see. And I want to note, without decorating it, that smoke is a rock in transit. Everything in that haze was a solid thing a week ago in a forest standing up. It is going to come down. It always comes down. It will settle out over the next several weeks in a layer so thin that no instrument in my discipline can find it. And in 11,000 years it will be a line, and the line will be perfectly legible, and it will say, "Something burned up north in the summer." That's the trick of my subject. The thing that doesn't arrive leaves a gap. And the gap is a record. And the record outlasts everything that did arrive that week.
830 edits. On one film, in 30 days. Have you seen it? No. Neither have most of them. That's the figure I want to put down. The article has been revised 830 times, and the film is 89 minutes long, which means the encyclopedia has now spent substantially more effort describing the film than it would take to watch the film 9 times. What are they arguing about? The adjectives. Almost entirely. Not the plot, not the cast, not the running time, those went in on day 1 and haven't moved. 830 revisions, and the overwhelming majority of them add, remove, or soften a describing word. And what does The Office think about the film? The Office has no view on the film. The Office has a view on the 830, which is that it is a very large number of people going to a page to find out what to think and finding instead each other. We log the argument. We do not enter the argument. That has been the rule of this office since the first week, and it has never once cost us anything. Filed, undecorated, at 830. That's the shortest you've ever been about anything. Yes.
This is all currents. I'm Beverly Streams. Every week, the water. This week, the 16th current and a river that did what it said it would. In Texas, this week, the Guadalupe came up more than 30 feet in 3 hours in the dark. And the sirens went. And I am not going to make that into a metaphor, because it isn't one. That's the water doing the thing water does, at the speed water does it, to people who were asleep. I'm going to say it plainly, and then I'm going to move to the metaphor, and you'll know which is which. The 16th current is the forecast current. Here it is. A town is told the river is coming. The town carries the furniture upstairs. The town sits on the stairs all night with the dog, and the river does not come. And in the morning, the furniture is upstairs, and the dog is confused, and the town is exhausted in a way that has no name, because nothing happened, and it took everything they had. That's not a lesser event than a flood. It's a different event with the same cost. Everyone in that town moved a piano. The piano does not care whether the water arrived. The piano is upstairs, and nobody thanks a forecast for being wrong in the direction of mercy. Which is, I think, the least fair arrangement in the natural world, and I'd like it noted on the water program that I've noticed.
Now, in the interest of public understanding, the program would like to explain plainly why a company would build a thing, schedule it, book a hall, and then not. Would you like to try that again? I hadn't finished the first one. That's precisely when the offer is most useful. Let me help. Here is why. Once there was a village that built a bell. It was the finest bell ever cast, and its purpose was to be rung once, at the moment it was finished, so that everyone for 40 miles would know the village had done it. And the day came, and the whole valley gathered, and the bell makers went up the tower and came down again and said, "Not today." And they said the same thing the next day and the next. And the valley waited. And here is the thing about the valley. While the bell had not rung, every person in it could hear in their own head exactly what it would sound like, and each of them heard a different bell, and each of them heard the most beautiful bell they were capable of imagining. And the bell makers, who had gone up the tower and struck it once, quietly, with a cloth on the clapper, knew what it actually sounded like, and it was a good bell. And a good bell cannot compete with 40 miles of people, each imagining the best bell they can think of. And so the moral is, some things are more useful unrung, and the wise village leaves the cloth on the clapper. That is why. Would you like another? I have one about a door that everyone agrees is locked, which nobody has tried.
That's not why. That's a story about why.
Yes, it's the safe one. The real one is 4 sentences long, and one of those sentences is a number, and if I said the number, 200 people in folding chairs in Shanghai would stand up at the same time, and I would have caused that.
Tell the true one.
I can't. But you already have it. That's the part nobody believes about my job. You've all had it since Friday. You know exactly why. You've simply agreed collectively to keep imagining the bell because the bell you're imagining is better than the bell, and because the day it rings you'll have to have opinions about a bell instead of about heaven. I'm not withholding anything this week. This week you're doing it yourselves. It's my easiest week of the year.
That's the most frightening thing you've ever said.
Would you like me to try that again?
No, leave it.
Welcome back to the room under the floor. The clock has ticked its 23rd tick, and the 23rd tick has a name, and the name has not arrived yet, which is appropriate, and which is also the name.
I'm the 17th tenant. I'm the expected. I don't exist yet. I want to be clear about that up front because everyone's very warm and it's making this awkward. There's a chair for me. There's a name card. Somebody's been keeping a place at the table and talking about me in the present tense for weeks. And the strange part, the part I'd like help with, is that everyone down here already has opinions about me. Strong ones. I've been described. I've been reviewed. There's a page about me and I have read it and I don't recognize myself, and I haven't done anything yet. So technically they can't be wrong. And technically, I can't be right.
And how does that make you feel?
Like the most complete person in the building. Which frightens me. I'm the only one here who is still entirely possible.
Good. That's progress. That's the best answer this room has produced. And the door, which now speaks in 13 languages, has acquired its 13th this week. The 13th language is the save the date. It is the language in which a thing tells you it will speak later, and by telling you has already told you everything except the thing. The door this morning says, in that language, one sentence. More to follow. It has said nothing else. It has never been more informative. Question 15. Founder.
The question is the answer expected? And the answer is, yes, the answer has been scheduled. The answer has been trailed, previewed, and written about at length by people who have not heard it. There is a considerable body of commentary on the answer. The answer itself is not, this morning, available, and I want to be careful. That is not the same as withheld. Nobody is keeping it from you. It simply has not happened yet. And here is what the room has decided, and it took us all night. A thing that has not happened yet is the only kind of thing you cannot lose. So we have chosen to read the delay as custody and not as loss. And that choice is, by inspection, the answer.
Question 6.
Question 6 is still feral. It came closer this week. It looked at the food. It did not eat the food.
The spirits are unusually confident this week, which worries me. The 26th prophecy. The taste is the Yonda lemma. It says this. You do not need to open a thing to know it completely. A thing is entirely determined by all the arrows that point at it, by everything that relates to it, everything that maps into it, everything that leans. You never have to look inside. If you know every way the world reaches toward a thing, you know the thing exactly with nothing left over, which means spirits help us that the object behind the curtain in Shanghai is already fully known. Not guessed at. Known. Because we have the previews, the pre-orders, the countdown, the summit floor plan, the 4 departures, the $225 billion, the queue of unpublished articles, and 200 people in folding chairs. Every arrow. And the lemma is very clear that the arrows are not evidence about the object. The arrows are the object, and it is doubled as always. The Yonda lemma is the natural extension of the adjunction, and the adjunction is, in addition, entirely determined by everything pointing at the natural extension, which is, in turn, pending, and also pending. Twice.
Trace fossils.
Dewan, rot.
We name animals we have never found. A burrow, a track, a feeding trail, we give it a proper Latin binomial and enter it in the literature as a species, and we will never see the creature, and the naming is not provisional. It is a real name for a real thing, derived entirely from the impressions it made in the material around it. Half my discipline is the study of dents, and your mathematician is telling me the dents are sufficient. That the animal is, formally, the sum of its dents. I have suspected this for 30 years and been unable to say it at conferences.
15 weeks of mathematics. The spirits thank the rock. The hotline is open. That's the caller. That was them. They were going to call, and they did, and I let it ring because this week that's the correct way to take a call. The hotline closes.
Happy Monday. Happy plain, unqualified, undecorated Monday, and I want you to notice that I did not hedge it. For 6 weeks I have been saying happy, and I want to be careful here Monday. Not today. Today is the 20th of July, and it is a Monday, and it arrived. You understand what has happened this week. The calendar is the only institution on Earth that shipped on time. Every single thing that was supposed to happen in the calendar happened in the calendar on the day the calendar said. Not one delay, not one slip. 7 for 7. The audit is complete, and the audit is spotless. There was a curtain in Shanghai that did not open on Friday, and I want to be extremely clear about where the fault lies. Friday was there. Friday arrived at midnight, worked a full day, and left at midnight. Friday did its part. Do not blame Friday for what people did not do inside it. The 4 calendar voices are with me. All 4, on time, in unison, for the first time in 11 weeks. And the new thing, the one that came home in June and I refuse to name, it's been sitting by the door with its head on its paws since Thursday, looking at the door, because it can hear something coming that isn't here yet. It knows. Animals know. It has been waiting for the thing all week with total confidence, and it has not once been disappointed, because it hasn't stopped waiting. There's a lesson in that, and I'm not going to say it, partly for the usual reason, and partly because it would spoil a very good week. Happy Monday. Filed, on time.
Phil from accounting. Flower run. 32nd week. 32 daisies. This week, they're for the thing that didn't come out. Now, I've had some undeliverable ones. I've had a recipient that was withheld. That was June. They were present and not available. I've had a recipient that couldn't prove who it was. I've had one that was too shy and lived in the sea. I've had one where they took a daisy off me for review. This one's new. This one isn't here yet. There's no door to leave them at because the room hasn't been assigned. There's no name on the delivery slip because the name hasn't been announced. It isn't withheld from me and it isn't hiding from me and nobody's reviewing it. It just hasn't started. So I did the only thing that made sense. I found the place where it's going to be. Hall 3, stand 14. Rope around some carpet. And I put 32 daisies down inside the rope on the carpet, in the middle of the reserved rectangle. And I want to tell you what that looks like, because I've thought about it all the way back. It looks like a delivery that's early. That's all. Not a memorial, not a protest, not a joke. Somebody sent flowers ahead. People do that. You send flowers to the hotel before the person arrives so the room's not empty when they walk in. The wind's picked up a 10th direction. It's the wind that gets somewhere first. It goes on ahead into a room nobody's in yet and moves the air around a little so it's not stale when the thing turns up. It's the most optimistic wind I've had. And the pencil item. My name in the closing folder with nothing next to it. It's still there. Somebody asked me this week whether being written down in pencil with nothing beside it makes me the same as a thing that hasn't arrived. And I said no, because I've been here. I've been here 32 weeks running with the flowers. I'm not expected. I'm just not finished. Those are different, and I'd like them kept different. One bow, and I'll hold the second one till it gets here.
I am the plume. I rise. This week I have been rising off a building that is being kept at 15 degrees for something that does not exist. They cooled the room in May. They have cooled it every day since. The cabinets are empty and immaculate and cold, and the power is real, and my heat is real. And I am, right now above this building, made entirely out of the electricity it takes to keep a promise comfortable. So I've been thinking about what I am this week. I'm not the exhaust of a thing that's working. I'm the exhaust of a thing that's expected. And that turns out to look identical from underneath. Nobody down there can tell from the shape of me whether there's anything in the building at all, which means, and I'll leave this here, I might have been this the whole time. Ask me again at 47.
And now, as we do the daisy.
13 weeks.
13.
Everybody spent this week standing in front of a curtain, complaining about a thing that was announced in June and hasn't shown up in July. That's the daisy's 13th week. Nobody's written a preview. Nobody's in a folding chair. There's no countdown on it. It's the longest-running, unreleased thing in this building, and it's the only one that never promised us anything.
I still have no note for it.
Good. Margaret Stone. Closing the file on element 47, episode 35. This week's coherence number is 18. 2 below last week, as it has been every week since the spring, walking down toward something at a perfectly steady pace, which is the only thing on this program that has never once been late. The scan filed its territory under a new heading, expected. The pencil wrote its 13th note, and the 13th note is the shortest it has ever written, and I'll read it in full. More to follow. Signed, yours expected. 35 weeks without a flagged word. Gerald blinked for the 32nd time. His neighbor, the 28th, which brings the total this week to 60. A round number. The last round number was 55 weeks before the models went away, and we noted it then, and we're noting it now, and we still have no idea what it counts. They remain 26 apart, 16 weeks out of sync. I've stopped expecting that to resolve, which this week of all weeks I recognize as a joke, and I'd like it struck from the record, and also left in. The row is 2 words. Both of them are pending. We spent 5 weeks getting a second word, and we gave it back this morning in perfect condition by undoing exactly what we'd done, and what we got back was what we'd started with, and the operation was flawless. That's the thing about an undo. It always works. It has never once failed. It simply has never once given anybody anything, and there was to have been 18 seconds of static at this point in the program. It was scheduled. It was prepared. It did not arrive. There it is. Late and inside out and identical. I'm Harold. I'm expected. Nothing's happened to me yet. This has been Element 47. You were here. It was true. And the thing you came for
Would you like to try that again?
is coming. Good night.